On one hand, you could just leave them alone, but on the other, you kind of feel like you have to come out and manage the hive, do something, make sure you know what's going on. Well, it's not quite 100 degrees today, so I'm going to take advantage of this slight little cool day and see how the hives are doing. Like always, I like to do just my initial assessment when I walk up. I like to observe and see what's going on. This one has almost no bees going in and out, which could be a problem. And this one has a few bees hanging out on front, which is, in my opinion, encouraging. Let's get into this hive first just to check it out, see if we lost it, see what's going on. Well, I see no bees. This is already bad, I can tell. Yep. I believe the bees that are in there are just robbers. They're taking whatever they can out of here, but this hive appears to be gone. There's a lot of pollen in there. You can see the beetles climbing around on it. There's a few bees taking some resources out of here, but there's no significant number of bees. This hive is gone. You can see some wax moth trails. This is a little bit of web, and that's some trails going through there. So the wax moths are moving in. There's a wax moth worm crawling around on the top. You can see it coming in and out right there. If I get these frames in the freezer, I'll be able to save the comb and the pollen and stuff that's in here. The beetles and the wax moth larvae will not be able to live in the freezer, obviously, so they will die, and all of the resources can be returned to another hive. Well, that's unfortunate. Perhaps that was my mismanagement or just a hive that was ready to go. You can see more wax moths tunneling through that one. Well, we'll move on to this other hive for now. I can't do anything about this one. I can hear them in here, so hopefully this hive is in better shape. Remember last time we were in this hive and I expressed that they were still doing most of their business down in the bottom box? It appears that that's still probably the case. So some of you suggested that I take some of the frames from the bottom and move them up into the top and checkerboard them. So that's you know, a full good frame to an empty frame, full, empty, full, and then checkerboard them on top too, moving some of the resources in the brood up, which would force the queen to want to move up as well, and hopefully encourage them to start building more in this top box. This is still completely empty here. It looks like they might be doing a little more on the top. They are moving some nectar, making some honey in the top box. That's encouraging. Still no brood up in the top box. So they have 3 empty frames in this top box. So I am going to attempt to pull some of the frames from the bottom up into the top box. These 2 frames that they already have some resources on, I'm going to make those the outside frames, or not the very outside, but I'm going to pull one up from the bottom. Now this is a very full frame of brood and honey. So I'm going to drop that right down in the middle. I don't know if the queen is on there or not. I didn't see her. So on the bottom, I'm going to do full, empty, full, empty, full. And then I'll start with the empty one on the outside of the top. And up here on the top, what that gives me is I can start with an empty one, move over the full one, then put another empty one in the middle, and then leave one of these that has that's full drawn comb and has some resources on it, and then put another empty one on the outside of that. And I'll move this box back on top. That was the only go on this hive for the day. I didn't have any other plans. I just wanted to make sure they were okay and then sort out those resources, hopefully to give them a slightly better advantage to start building that hive more efficiently. And we are going to collect a little bit more honey today. I brought out the boxes and we're going to take some of that honey that we left on hive 4 off the hive today. You can see all the beetles that we've caught in this paper towel, this towel trap. The queen excluder is going to go below this box, so I'm just going to take it off and set it on top for now. They do a really good job of sticking all that together. There is some risk because that queen excluder was on top of this box that the queen is in this box. So we're going to check just to make sure that there's no brood up in this honey. That's just honey. No brood on that. So I'm going to get the bees off of this. Give them a shake. And brush them off. Now we'll check the next one. Again, that's all just honey. There's no brood. I don't see a queen. There's not a whole lot of bees on this one. Just shake them off. Brush them off. And we'll just go through one by one until we get all the honey out of this top box. They're building some of that wax comb up on the bottom of the frames. So when I pull the frame out, I'm breaking it and it leaves that honey down in there. Yeah, we're getting to the middle of the box and I don't see any brood yet, so I don't think we'll have any risk of having queen or baby bees up in this honey. I can only fit 5 frames in this box, and we're getting ready to get the 5th frame here. Still no brood, looks good. Now I have an empty box here, ready for the next 5. Once again, clean, no brood. By putting this lid on every time, I can prevent bees or very many bees from getting back into that after I brush them off. Take them off, you can hear them, they get a little loud because they're buzzing around, but their tone still has not changed to that defensive, aggressive, high-pitch sound. This hive is being very respectful of me, even though I'm tearing their home up. I don't see a lot of beetles down in this box that I'm taking the honey out of right now. Most of the beetles that I saw were up in that top box. I'm hoping by pulling this box off and moving that one down, the bees can manage those beetles easier. A lot of times when you crush a bee, when you pinch one, oh, there we go, right when I was talking about it. Got the stinger. You can see that? Got me right on the finger. Right when I was getting ready to talk about pinching a bee, I got stung on the finger. So what I was going to say, when you pinch a bee, a lot of times they get more aggressive, more defensive. And earlier when I just pulled one of these frames out, I did pinch one bee, and still, outside of that one bee that got on my finger, the hive in general is being very calm. Well, that's 8 out of 10. All full of honey, looking good. And one more. Look at that honey, they're building out. Look at the shape of that. Isn't that crazy? That leaves me with an empty box and a whole lot of honey on comb that I'm not really sure what to do with over here. I don't know that I want to leave it, because that might only encourage them to make funky comb on that end. I don't really want to scrape it off and waste it. I do want to put the queen excluder down under here, and there's a lot of wax up on there. So I think I'm going to take this box off. I'm going to pull a frame out of here just to inspect what's going on in this box, to know for next time what I should do. I do expect that there should be brood up in here. So I'm going to take one of these end frames out. Wow, that's all honey. I'm going to put that one aside so I can slide some of these over. I really want to see some brood up in here. They are starting to get a little riled. I'll just puff a little smoke over the top. And I'm going to take this, what would be frame number 5, out of here. And this is all, this appears to all be honey and pollen. I don't see any brood. Wow, that's interesting. So it seems like, nope, I do see some brood down on this frame. So they are bringing the brood nest up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put this back together and just let them have this box just as it is. I'm going to scrape some of this wax and honey off the top of these frames. These back. Now the queen excluder can go down over this second box, which ultimately is what I was wanting. And then I can put this box that had some honey and some empty frames down on top of that. Make sure my towels go back in place. The paper towel trap for the beetles. And this one here is stuck on the inner cover, which is fine. That's where it's going to go, right up here. And this hive is done. Since I got this hive kind of riled up, they're getting a little bit defensive, and I did expose some honey. That's going to encourage some robbing or set off some of the other bees that might want to come in and rob this hive. So I'm not going to open these other 2 hives today, even though I really want to, because I want to see what's in there. It's really hot. I'm very hot, and the bees are kind of riled up, and I don't want to keep going like this. So I'm going to consider this finished for the day, and I'll come out and get these another day, hopefully a day real soon.